Imagine you were evaluating Congress the same way you would evaluate the executive leadership team of a company. What would their annual performance review look like? Let's do this together. Let's use five common leadership categories. One, financial management. Two, strategy. Three, oversight and program management. Four, legislative effectiveness. Five, accountability. And let's use the familiar performance review rating scale of exceeds expectations, meets expectations, needs improvement, and unsatisfactory. So here's how I would evaluate Congress on those five categories. See if you agree. First, financial management. A leadership team's let's start that again. First, financial management. A leadership team's first responsibility is financial stewardship. The federal government is running roughly $2 trillion annual deficits. The national debt is approaching $40 trillion and it continues to grow. Both parties have had opportunities over many years to improve our long-term fiscal outlook, yet the debt has continued to rise. My rating, unsatisfactory, and in fact, this category alone would be grounds for termination in most organizations. Second, strategy. Strong leaders think beyond the next quarter or in government beyond the next election. They identify long-term challenges, make difficult decisions early, and invest in the future. Too often, Washington appears focused on today's headlines and the next election cycle instead of the next generation. Commissions are formed, reports are written, but major long-term problems like Social Security, healthcare costs, and the national debt remain largely unsolved. My rating again, unsatisfactory. Third, oversight and program management. Congress is not supposed to run federal agencies, but it is responsible for overseeing them and making sure taxpayer dollars are being spent effectively. Many government programs provide real value, but good oversight also means asking tough questions. Are programs still achieving their goals? Are there duplicative programs? Are ineffective programs being reformed or eliminated? Too often, programs continue year after year, often decade after decade, with little results or meaningful reform. Often Congress passes a bill to create a program, and they assume that they've solved the problem, when really the program does nothing or creates new problems. Government watchdogs repeatedly report billions of dollars in improper payments, waste, fraud, and abuse, and significant reforms are rare. My rating needs improvement just because government does do some things that are good, and I still think I'm being kind there. Fourth, legislative effectiveness. The purpose of legislation is to solve problems. Good laws should be clear, focused, and effective. They should address the issues they were written to solve without creating unnecessary new problems. Instead, Congress passes enormous bills that combine unrelated issues into a single package, often hiding pork spending or laws that have nothing to do with the title of the bill. Important legislation is often voted on before lawmakers and certainly the public have had adequate time to review it. Or Congress takes the easy way out with short-term band-aids. And on many of America's biggest challenges, lasting bipartisan solutions have repeatedly failed to materialize. My rating, unsatisfactory. Finally, accountability. Great leaders own their results. They explain trade-offs honestly, they admit mistakes, they focus more on solving problems than assigning blame. Too often, Washington rewards blaming the other party more than fixing the underlying problem. That's not the kind of accountability most organizations expect from their leaders, so my rating again, unsatisfactory. America's biggest long-term challenges won't be solved unless all of us, not just politicians, become informed, engaged, willing to push back, and willing to think beyond the next election. That's our mission at Long Term America. We're building a community of regular people who want to understand our country's long-term challenges, discuss solutions respectfully, and encourage our leadership to think in decades, not election cycles. If that sounds like something you'd like to be part of, visit us at longtermamerica.com and join us. There's no cost, we don't fundraise, and I think you'll be very glad you did.